Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to do hands-on in terms of blue and green deployment. Now, you must have known the architecture of what we are supposed to do on the blue and green deployment in terms of architecture. We are going to proceed with creating 3 deployments. The complete 2 deployments is going to be about your blue deployment and green deployment. Another one is going to be your service deployment. So these are the 3 items we are going to apply on our Kubernetes at this moment. Remember that blue and green deployments is a variety of your fixed update or your recreate deployment. So you're going to have recreate on all these deployments. So create a file over here on the OPD software. If you have a folder deployment, just get inside that folder. And then you can create this file, sterling b as in blue, prod web deploy.yaml. So this file is going to create for the blue deployment. So copy paste the one from your GitHub. Now GitHub should have under part 10 of the deployment, mastering deployment over there. So just copy paste that item over here. Let me quickly explain you. This is something which we have already seen. This is a deployment and the name of the deployment. I normally keep the file name and the deployment name as the same. It avoids confusion. And then 3 replicas, and then you have the method blue over here, which it would look for in terms of selecting this or creating these 3 replicas. You should have blue. Okay, so this is mandatory. Why? Because if you don't have this, then it's going to look at the other deployment which you're going to invoke on the other side. So we should really have this as a selector. And here we are using the strategy as recreate. And you can see that this is also the same. Method is blue. Here we are deploying version 1 of your Nginx application from beyondcloud.ai. So you can use your own image there. So this is pretty much the options we have explained in terms of readiness probe and restart policy, which I've already explained on the theory session or the architecture session. So save and quit this file. We should be good enough to apply this. So to apply kubectl, apply F, sterling b. So this should actually have this deployment done. So let me just check this deployment one more time. It's talking about 8080 service. So maybe I've not started my Kubernetes. I had to reinstall Kubernetes because there's my system crashed earlier. So it just had some issues. So I had to reinstall it. So I've created the file, which is over here. So I'm just going to apply it on kubectl apply -f and the file name. So this is going to be applying, and this is monitoring the replica set, and this is monitoring the number of pods, just the usual stuff. As you can see, the pods has been created over here. So which is just basically gives you the pod details over here. Nothing much. -o wide, -show, -label. So I'm giving with this option, and now it's watching with this option, which is O-wide and show label. So it gives me more information here. So it tells me that the method is blue over here. And even the replica set, which was created over here, is for the blue one. So you can also give -f and show -labels here. Sorry. O-wide. All right, so -wide here gives you the label as well, so you don't have to give -f and show labels. And as you can see that this is this particular replica set is all about blue at this moment. So now that's pretty much I wanted to show you here. The next thing is I'm going to create another deployment here, which is going to be green. So I'll just modify the same YAML file and make this as G. And create a new YAML file over here for green deployment. So I've given you the code on the on the GitHub, so you can copy paste it just like how I am doing. It's fine. So what is going to be a major difference here is that this is going to be this replica set is the same as the previous one. It's going to have 3 of those pods. And this is going to be on green. So now you may not directly come to this green state. So for example, you would have deployed the service for load balancer, and that service would be routed to the blue deployment, and then later point of time, your development team would have come up with a new version of your application, and then you would do this process. Okay, so this happens after a while your development team came with a new version of your application. So that's when you can actually use this kind of a situation. But then as we have the version 1, 2, and 3 already ready for us, so I'm just running this as a class or as a session, right? So I don't have to wait for that long. But in a real-time scenario, you may have to wait for the green deployment. The next version of that, which gets released from your developers, we will put it as a green deployment and then go ahead and do that on the next version. So here in this situation, the only change here is the name. Over here is basically it has G. Another one is the method has changed to green, because your label will also be changed to green, and you can see that label is changed to green and the version has become V2, and your image you're going to use is V2 right now. So you have come up with a newer version of your application, so you're going with this, and then everything else, all these options are the same. So save and quit this file and create this deployment with kubectl apply fnf, the file name. So this is going to create another replica set, and it's going to spin up another pods. Now do remember that the previous two deployment strategies which we have seen, one is the rolling update. You were able to see there was no downtime, but then you were able to see some kind of a old version which was keep on coming until the new version completely took over. So that's one stage. And second one, you had completely seen a downtime in which the application was not accessible for a period of time. So that both the problems should not happen in this method of deployment. So that's the whole reason of trying this deployment. Both the problems is like you don't want to see the versions while it's getting updated, and also you don't want to see a downtime when your application is working fine. So now what this deployment means is that currently you have created two deployments. One is blue and green. So you have blue running with version 1 of your application and green running with version 2 of your application. So if you see the whole thing, if you just summarize it, if you just make a juice of the first two deployment you have done, there is this, you can come to two conclusions or two resolutions or two problems which you had with the previous two deployments, right? One problem was like it was showing you different versions while it got migrated from version 1 to version 2 or version 2 to version 3. And in the second deployment, we found the second problem wherein which you had a little bit of downtime. So these are the two juice of the problems which you have seen so far. Now, how we are going to resolve these two of these is using another service. So we have already seen on the architecture diagram that the service sits on top of your, all your deployments and everywhere, right? So what you're going to do is like, simply switch the service. So it's like changing the track. So the train is coming on one single track. Now you have two divisions right now. The previous train has passed on the version 1. You want the next train, from next train onwards, you want to pass that train to the second version or another track. All you have to do is like you need to switch the track. So they just think about a lever which you pull, and then the track changes, and then all the train from then on goes to the version 2. So this is what the strategy over here, what we are talking about. To do that, we need to first create a service. We already seen how to create a load balancing service successfully, and then how the traffic will be routed through a cluster IP address rather than a server IP address. And we have also worked with the load balancing service a little bit so that we are more comfortable doing or creating more load balancing service. So right now, when I create a load balancing service, I would point my application to version 1. That's how it is defaultly done. So, and later point of time when you get a version 2, then we try to redirect that trains to the version 2 by just switching over to version 2. We'll talk about that on the next video. But in this video, we will only concentrate on version 1 at this moment. So what I'll do is like I'll create another service file over here, which is going to be named as Sterling Load Balancer BG as in blue-green service. So this is going to be our service wherein which we're going to configure a load balancer for blue primarily and then switch to green later point of time. So we will see how much downtime it comes when we are switching over. So as of now, we're just going to point it to blue. So copy paste the content from your part 10. So you should see this content from your part 10. So the name of this service is going to be Sterling Load Balancer SVC. You don't have to give -BG. You can give it also. I don't normally specify the type of load balancer with this name, but then it's always good to have some name implementing what we are actually doing as a deployment. So that's good to have. If you want to give, you can go ahead and give it. Here, the selector is going to be looking for blue, as in like we have two methods over here as part of your pods and as part of your replica set and as part of your deployment also, because on top of the replica set comes deployment, and deployment is the one which is controlling everything right now. So in the deployment also you will have the label which you have created, which is actually looking for the same item. And what is the end result? What a load balancing service would look as an end result? It will basically look at the pods. Okay, they will not be looking at the deployment or your replica service. It will be looking at your pod. So when you are navigating or routing your request, basically the load balancing service will look for pod details, these pod details. So, and then it looks for these 3 pods only at this moment. So when you're talking about blue, so this is the blue one over here. So you have method blue, and method blue. So the only difference between these 6 pods which you have configured is that 3 of them are running with method blue and 3 of them are running with method green. So this is the only difference between these 6 pods. So as you're running with method blue over here, so you will see that we are having the default load balancer configuration. There's not much changes here. Save this file and run this deployment. Group control, apply, -F. This is going to start the YAML file, and this is going to have created a new service right now. So the new service has been created. kubectl get SVC. Now you can see that it has created a new service over here, which is a cluster IP and a port number. It's an internal port external port number, which is used for browsing it from the external network, which means my desktop. And this is the internal 180 port number, which is running on within this IP address. So that's basically uses this IP address and this port number combination. This is what we have seen already. So I think make big difference here. So I type in wget here. I download the index.html file, which is useless. So let's just do a watch command, curl, and the IP address over here. So you can see that the version of this one is coming through, and you can see welcome to Nginx is also coming through over here. All right, so I've given the watch command with the -n1 and the curl with the IP address of the cluster. So what it's doing is like it is just showing me the updates every 1 second. So which means that as you see that this is changing, it means that this bytes is received bytes is changing. Why? Because there is updates. It's going to different servers and getting that information. So that's the reason why it is changing, and it is refreshing every single time. So every server will get a hit when you see a different every second. So that's one way of looking at things. So this will also tell us about the downtime here. If there's a downtime, we will get to see it here on live when we do the switch on the next video. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.